Hey guys, Mr. Milton here. We are going to talk about adding and subtracting polynomials today. At the end of this video, you should be able to add and subtract polynomials. Okay? So, first things first, let me hand out some tips for adding and subtracting polynomials. First, put both polynomials in standard form. Okay, that way it's easier to organize. You know you're not skipping over anything. Remember, that's highest exponent to lowest exponent. And then identify your like terms. If you do both of these things, it makes the process a lot easier. Plus, your final answer needs to be in standard form anyway, so might as well put it in standard form at the beginning. Okay, there are two methods that we can use. Okay, we've got vertical method. So if we're given this problem, 4x squared plus 6x plus 7 plus 2x squared minus 9x plus 1, we've got the vertical method, which is nice because there's less thinking. There's less thinking. And what you'll do is you'll line up like exponents that are the same. You'll add and subtract the coefficients. Remember, that's the numbers in front of the variables. And because we're adding and subtracting, the exponents don't change. They do not change. Okay? So, how the vertical method will look if I'm given this problem, what I'll do, I want to make sure these are in standard form. They both are. Go from highest exponent down to lowest exponent. Okay, and so my first thing, I'm going to put 4x squared plus 6x plus 7. And then I'll line up its next term, 2x squared minus 9x plus 1. Okay, because I'm adding, I just follow whatever the sign in front of the term says to do. So 4x squared plus 2x squared is 6x squared. 6 minus 9, negative 3, x, 7 plus 1, 8. Okay, and that's the vertical method. The name's not that creative, we just made sure it was stacked vertically. Okay. Horizontal method, advantage, I'll say less writing. Especially if it's given to you horizontally, which most problems will be given to you. So the advantage, less writing, maybe will take a little less time. You still have to be more careful now, though. So the tips for this is to identify and mark like terms. I usually do some kind of circling or squaring or underlining or something like that. Then you add, subtract the coefficients. Coefficient, remember that's the number in front of the variable. And then the exponents don't change. So whether you're doing a vertical or horizontal method, you're still adding. And so what this goes like here, we have 4x squared plus 6x plus 7. Normally, I guess you wouldn't really have to rewrite this. I'm just rewriting it because I want it to be down here. Okay, so what I'll do usually is I'll go through and I'll circle like terms. Okay, so 4x squared and 6x, and 2x squared. I'll circle the other like terms, and when I do that, I usually do something to indicate like, hey, this is different to myself, and also make sure you include the sign in front of the number. And then finally, got these underlined. And so now I go through, okay, my circles together, these are the like terms. Make sure first that I included everything in the problem. 4x squared plus 2x squared, 6x squared. Positive 6x, negative 9x is negative 3x. 7 plus 1 is 8. Okay, so not a whole lot of crazy things that happen in there. Just making sure that you stay organized basically is the point for both of these, whether it's horizontal method or vertical method. You just have to make sure you stay organized. Okay, you can try to find the sum for this third one. Okay, try to set that up and find the sum for the third one. Okay. All right, on this next page, we are now going to talk about subtracting polynomials. And even though it might seem just as easy, subtraction is where most mistakes happen. So what we're going to do when we're subtracting, I make it an addition problem. Okay, that's the helpful trick. To flip every sign in the equation only, and the problem becomes an addition problem. So flip every sign in the parentheses. Let me see, in the parentheses equation. It's not really equation, it's expression. In the second, let's change that word to parentheses. Okay? And the problem becomes an addition problem. Okay? Remember that I said addition and subtraction are essentially the same thing, just like multiplication and division are the same thing. If I want to subtract 2, I can add negative 2. Okay, and that's basically what we're using here. The minus sign is a multiplication in front of the, we'll just say that. It's like multiplication in front of the second equation. Therefore, you're distributing the negative 1 into this equation, which flips each side. So what we get here is we have 2x cubed plus 5x squared minus 3x. And what we're going to do is we're just going to distribute this negative 1. Okay, we're going to distribute this negative 1 to every term here. Distribute it, distribute it, distribute it. And so now I get to drop that, and I can just say minus x cubed plus 8x squared minus 11. And that's me distributing that negative 1 to each term. And now it's horizontal already. I'm not going to rewrite it. I'm just going to go through and make sure that I carefully organize and find my like terms, making sure that I include the signs in front of them. Okay, so now I'm going to start with my cubes. 2x cubed minus x cubed leaves me x cubed. Let's go to my squares. 5x squared plus 8x squared is 13x squared. Go to the x's now, so I have negative 3x. I don't have any more triangles, so it's negative 3x. I go to make sure I got everything checked off, and I have this minus 11 here. Nothing else to go with it. Minus 11, and then I should check my answer to make sure that I'm going from highest exponent down to lowest exponent, so my answer is in standard form, and it is. Okay, let's try it vertically with this second problem. Okay, again we have a minus problem, so like this negative 1 here. I'm going to distribute it here. Distribute, distribute, distribute. And so I have 7m squared minus 5. That's my first one. My second one I'll have negative 3m squared, negative 1 times that, plus 8m minus 2. Okay, a couple things that you should notice here, and I gotta actually space this out again. Okay, I have 7m squared minus 5. Now, even though that's this term and it is true, notice that my 5 and my 8m are stacked. I'm going to move this. Okay. Now, I don't have an m in my first problem, but that's not going to stop me. I'm going to say plus 0m. This was minus 5. Okay, and make a placeholder here so I can have my like terms lined up. So I have 7m squared minus 3m squared gives me 4m squared. 0m plus 8m, and then negative 5 minus 2, negative 7. Okay, so big thing here, remember we use this placeholder here to make sure that we're able to keep all of our like terms together. Alright, finally adding some things together here. This last problem says the perimeter of the figure below is 25c plus 9. Find the measure, or write an expression to represent the last side. So we know that all this together adds up to give us 25c plus 9. We want to find this side. So the thought process behind this question is that we're probably going to want to add the rest of this up and see how far away it is from 25c plus 9. So let's add these like terms together. Okay, so I got my c's. Add those together, I have 20c. going to add these like terms together. Have plus 3, 20c plus 3, plus, and I'm just going to call, I don't know, this question mark, equals 25c plus 9. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, to find out what this question mark is, I need to subtract 20c plus 3 from 25c plus 9. So I have 25c plus 9 minus 20c plus 3. Okay, now that this is a subtraction problem, I want to change this to an addition problem. So I'm going to make this sign addition. I'm going to make all these signs opposite. Okay, so 25c minus 20c is 5c. 9 minus 3 is plus 6. So I know that this missing side is 5c plus 6. So notice I use something like the horizontal method, just finding the like terms and putting them together to find what we have. Then I use subtraction from what I know that it all adds up to find our missing side. Alright, so that's addition and subtraction to solve or simplify polynomials, adding and subtracting polynomials. Alright, use the horizontal method, use the vertical method, make sure that with subtraction problems we change it to an addition problem. Try out this problem at the bottom of the front page. Try this on your own, remember that. Bring it to class so I can check it. Alright, have a great weekend.